strange place to see somebody from France. But Raph's somebody who's no stranger to coming to America for Grand Prix.
He's been here
for over a decade now. Raph won back-to-back Grand Prix and extended a few years ago. It's a format then which was pretty similar to what Modern looks like now. Just a few weeks back, Raph won the Grand Prix in Austin.
And he was super excited about that win because he was tired of getting second and just not getting there. But let's talk about the game here. Looks like Levy's on the left, Stoll on the right. Levy appears to be Jund. Stoll looks like most likely a Caw variant. Snapcaster Mage, Spell Snare will get rid of that Tarmogoyf. This feels like standard a little bit ago with just a couple more powerful cards.
Yeah, Spell Snare is pretty huge here in this match. It looks like that Spell Snare was already used to counter one of Raph's 2-drops, and then Kyle was able to continue to curve out and use his Snapcaster Mage in conjunction with that Spell Snare to apply pressure and not spend any cards to deal with the Tarmogoyf that Raph intended to play. Yeah,
Raph looks like he's missing land drops. He does have double Blood Ray Elf, which is one of the best cards, probably the best card in the Jund deck. So without that, it's going to be real rough for him. I'm imagining maybe he kept some sort of, was it double Goyf? Oh, it looks like 2 Goyfs in his yard. There's a third land there.
And he does find the third land here. And he has a Sword of Feast of him. And that's an interesting card. That's a card we're not used to seeing in these Jund decks.
There's Levy right there. Seriously. There's Kyle, a little more lax look.
Yeah. Kyle, armed with the Claw Blade deck here, going to knock Raph down to 13.
He does have a Steel Sheeper's Gift in his hand.
And that's going to allow him to search for any equipment he wants in this matchup. Particularly strong here, where he can grab Sword of Feast and Famine, which is very strong against Raph's deck.
Pro both colors, and sometimes it even helps you dodge their burn. Now, that tap land is not what Raph wanted to see, because I believe I saw a Tectonic Edge in Stoll's hand. Stoll just eat up the green source in Treetop Village, and Raph's in another tough spot.
Yeah, I mean, this Tectonic Edge on the Treetop Village is going to be pretty rough for Raph. Kyle choosing to play it safely. If he had wanted, he could have cast Steel Shaper's Gift, grabbed a Sword of Feast and Famine, attached it to the Snapcaster Mage, swung for 4 damage, made Raph discard a card, untapped his lands, and then Tech Edged Raph. But if he had gone for that play, he would have opened himself up to, been pretty hurt by any spot removal spell at instant speed.
Yeah, Kyle draws a Mana Leak, his hand. It's Mana Leak, the Gift.
And a Steam
Steven, so he has a little red in here.
So it looks like he may not actually be playing a straight blue-white Claw Blade deck. Although you never know, a card like Steam Vent could be for something as simple as an Engineered Explosive Splash or something like that.
That's true. Or remember the end of the Standard season when the Caw and the Splinter Twin decks became one? Maybe he did that. But we're looking through his deck, it doesn't look like he has any of that stuff.
Yeah, that red may just be for something in the sideboard or for Engineered Explosives, as you said.
Posted on the carriage board at the back of the hall by the clock. Orange paper. You'll be seated at orange table numbers.
Kyle will take 2 from his Steam Vents.
The 2 p.m. sealed is now
15 here, and he's hard casting a Batter Spell.
Oh, and Raph draws a Burning Catacombs. So I imagine if he has a Maelstrom Pulse, he'd probably just go for the Batter Skull. Otherwise, we just spin the wheel with a Blood Ray Elf.
Yeah, and that doesn't seem too bad. Spinning the wheel with Blood Ray in this spot definitely could be worse.
Up an 8-player mini master event. And single elimination.
But Raph pulling an 8 here from that fetch land. Under a lot of pressure from Kyle. Missing those land traps was really detrimental to his plan. And the Spell Snare plus Snapcaster Mage when Kyle was on the play really put him in a bad spot.
There's a Dark Confidant, not exactly what Raph needs right now, but at least he can play some defense and maybe draw him some cards. Though he's really at low life right now. Might be doing some chump blocking duties.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised here if Raph simply chump blocked with that Dark Confidant in this turn.
Kyle looks like he has a
pretty
couple Path to
dangerous.
Exiles.
Ooh, so even once Raph's able to have the mana to equip that Bloodbraid Elf and cast another Bloodbraid Elf in the same turn, he's still going to be in a world of hurt because Kyle's backing up the aggression that he's got going right now with a mana leak and multiple Path to Exiles. Alright, 6 damage coming at Raph right now. Snapcaster Mage and a Germ token carrying the Batterskull. Beep beep. Batterskull's coming in the red zone.
Kyle's hand is just stacked right now, so Raph's just hoping that Kyle has nothing in his hand and he's able to make some block here and turn the game around, but it looks like that's not going to happen with Kyle having double path to Exile, Mana Leak, Cryptic Command, and a Calm Demeanor.
Yeah, he's got the full Monty right now. Seems extremely unlikely that Raph can win this game. But we'll see what Raph has planned.
I think part of Raph's plan is somehow making the sword connect.
Yeah, and I mean, if he knew Kyle's hand, he would know that the odds of that are very low. Alright, so Raph's going to fall to 4 here, and he's going to keep his Dark Confidant on the table, trade the Snapcaster Mage for the Bloodbraid Elf, and he's going to spin the wheel with that Dark Confidant. A Path to Exile is going to take that Dark Confidant out of the equation, though, and Raph's going to be stuck on 4 with no board.
Raph has a split card down there. Do you know what that is?
I'm
Rise
assuming
Fall?
it's a Rise Fall.
Okay.
Rise Fall, a very strong card, especially if you're already playing Lightning.
And Raph is
if you're-
out of basics in his deck.
Ooh, so he only plays the one Forest and Swamp.
Or he could know this game's over and he decided not to search it.
Yeah.
Trying to throw Kyle off for future Path to Exiles.
You never know. It's definitely a mind trick that Raph is completely capable of.
So game 1 goes to Kyle. Kyle didn't have to do much there. Raph was struggling on mana. When he finally got his 4th land, Kyle had the Tectonic Edge waiting there. So we'll see what kind of changes Ralph does now. He probably has doesn't want as much removal as he does main deck. Probably could switch those numbers around. Looks like he has the sideboard cheat sheet right there.
And that's something that, a lot of people don't use often enough to their advantage. The fact that you're allowed to have
A lot of heavy
sideboard
cheat
cheat
sheet.
sheet.
You can't look at it during the game, but
No, you
in
cannot.
between the games, perfectly fine.
If you look at it during a game, even if you're looking at it by accident, it's a match loss. So
Yeah,
be
you-
very careful about that.
Put it away in your box. Don't look at it, but it's definitely a good thing to have in these long tournaments. You get tired. You want to double check. You're like, what do I normally do here?
And if you don't have that plan previous to the tournament, then you're at a significant disadvantage to the people who did come up with that sideboard plan. And it also, it gives you a solid, by making that sideboard cheat sheet, putting it together, it gives you a solid plan of what sideboard cards you actually need. And maybe you start realizing that there are some cards in there that you don't need that many of. Then maybe you only want to take out 5 cards against your Splinter Twin opponents, so you don't need 7 cards to bring in.
I feel like you know who tested the most when you see these clean sideboards of like 4-4-3, or you see these sideboards of 3-2-1-2. Like, all right, he probably tested more. You don't come up with those numbers by just looking in your binder and putting them in your sideboard.
Exactly. Something that Brad Nelson once told me. He's like, if your sideboard is 4-4-3, then you haven't put enough work into your deck.
Yup.
So I had sent him a deck list for the 4-4-3 sideboard.
Just disregard that, please. I'm sending you this deck list to get some suggestions.
Raffling through his sideboard here. It looks like he has access to Ancient Grudge post board. That's something that Jund decks have. It's a pretty nice luxury in this format. You play against decks like, the artifact aggro strategies or these sword-based decks, and Ancient Grudge is just a huge advantage to have. Mm-hmm. So, the fact that you're playing red and green, you don't get to play with the blue cards, which are some of the more powerful cards, but you get these really powerful sideboard options, and your main deck's still chock full of stuff like, Dark Confidant, Bloodbraid Elf, these cards that can really stand toe-to-toe with cards like Snapcaster Mage, Spell Snare, and Cryptic Command, and not be that far behind once all is said and done. both players shuffling up here.
Kyle, on the other hand, what do you think he brought in?
I don't know. It really depends on his sideboard. He
took out Mana Leaks. I saw some of them at least. So he did that.
And that makes sense. Mana Leak is not that good, especially when you're on the draw against Junt. They're going to be able to stick their 2-drop underneath your Mana Leaks. Once they start casting their 4s, your Mana Leaks are pretty bad because against Bloodbraid Elf, they're still going to get half of the effect of the Bloodbraid Elf, even if you have the Mana Leak, because Bloodbraid Elf will cascade even if you counter it. So, there are a lot of different things that he could bring in. I'm not sure what he chose here.
All right. And off to game 2. Let's see what Raph's hand looks like. Couple lands there, more than a couple lands, and a Goyf and a Bolt. Kyle's hand, Shackles, Click, Batter Skull.
Alright. Does Raph have 5 lands Bolt Goyf? Or is
it looks like it's 5 land Bolt Goyf. That's what it looked like when I first saw it, and I think that's why he's taken so long to think about this one. Can I win with 5 land Bolt Goyf?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult for Raph to keep a hand like this, but it's also going to be difficult for him to mulligan. Jen is not a deck that mulligans very well. It's mana base, even though the colors are much better. You really want to hit lands 1 through 4 on turns 1 through 4, and if Kyle has a Spell Snare in his hand,
then your hand is
his hand does nothing.
Yep. Looks like Ralph is reasoning. He's trying to reason himself into this hand.
All right, and he mulligans.
Are you a looker or a never looker?
It depends how I'm feeling. When I'm playing well, I never look.
When the day's going bad, you're like...
When the day's going bad, I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I
obviously
would have drawn it. When I'm playing well, it's if you're confident, you don't have to.
Yeah, you're like, I don't care. When you're ready making your dinner plans after round 3, you're like, God dang. So Kyle sends his back too. They'll be on even ground, so Kyle's deck probably mulligans a little better. He probably has Squadron Hawks. He's playing swords, so you got to put him on somebody.
Yeah, I'm assuming he has Squadron Hawks, although you never know. Cards like Snapcaster Mage and Dueling Click also have excellent synergy with the swords. The flash mechanic is something that's really good with equipment because it gives you the opportunity to trick your opponent into tapping out for something, and then on their end step, they think they didn't have to leave open mana for an instant speed removal spell, well, even though you had equipment in play, but you just flash in a creature, and then suddenly, they're getting hit by like a Jitte or a Sword of Fire and Ice or Sword of Feast and Famine.
Alright, so Raph's hand is 2 discard spells, Bolt land. Kyle's hand is Squadron Hawk. It lands, I'm assuming.
And Squadron Hawk allows you to mulligan really well. So an Inquisition comes down. Kyle already has 2 of those Squadron Hawks, though, so not going to be that incredible. I think Raph's going to just grab that the Dalkin Shackles out of his hand while he has the opportunity.
Now, how good is Shackles against John? They have Maelstrom Pulse made, and they bring in, most likely, Ancient Grudge. You know that. Is Shackles still... You still like Shackles?
He's still on redraw value for the Ancient Grudge. Maybe you just take Kitchen Finks. I mean, definitely don't take a bird. Unless you want to attempt to go discard spell for bird 2 turns in a row.
Yeah, that is definitely one of his options.
It's going to be interesting here. I think the choice is between Shackles and Kitchen Finks, and I would probably take Kitchen Finks.
Yeah, I feel like I'm leaning more towards Kitchen Finks than Shackles. Shackles is pretty mana intensive. At least the first use. Oh, but he goes with Shackles.
Okay, he goes with the Shackles. And I like that play. I mean, Raph, being a consummate master, he almost certainly knows what to do better than I do, so...
Well, assume that's the right play. And later, And later be like, you should have taken kitchen things, obviously. Now, do you play the second discard spell now? You could wait. You know he's going to play Squadron Hawk turn 2. So it's another card you could look at. You don't look like you have any other action.
Then again, if you wait, you oftentimes are going to create some hiccups with the Gen deck. And Gen is a deck that really wants to be tapping out every single turn.
Oh, was that another Inquisition? So he still has a Thoughtseize in his hand?
Ooh, so he does have enough action right now.
There's a Maelstrom Pulse.
Maelstrom Pulse is an excellent answer to the birds. Does Raph have a land here so that he can start feeding the Treetop Village?
I believe so.
Alright, and I would not be surprised to see this grab an Overgrown Tomb or a Blood Crypt. I assume he's going to want the second source of green to go to the Treetop Village, so he may actually get a Stomping Ground here. Second source of red being strong because he does have the Bolt in hand, so that'll allow him to cast Blood Raid Elf and Bolt in the same turn.
With second green, he also needs it if he plays his Sphinx still in his if he has Sphinx in his deck. Doesn't want to be stranded with that.
Yeah, so probably going to 17 and grabbing untapped Stomping Grounds. That's what we're assuming.
Let's see here.
Stomping Grounds right on top there. Doesn't look like he's going for it.
Don't think you could go for the basic land here, right? Basic land?
Alright. So Raph grabs a basic forest here and activates his Treetop Village and attacks Kyle for 3. This is going to drop Kyle down to 17. I doubt he's going to block with that Hawk. And Kyle, it looks like, is going to be stuck continuing to develop his board with these Squadron Hawks. Dropping Raph down to 18 here with that attack. A Celestial Colonnade and another Squadron Hawk come down. Alright, will Raph simply bash again with Treetop Village, or does he have something more interesting for us this time around?
Well, maybe Raph's trying to make anything. We'll try to do anything to make Kyle play both of his Hawks this turn. Just hoping he can make him do that. Come on. Come on, Kyle. Go do it. That's what Raph wants you to do. Bam. Alright. And then Raph goes for it right here.
Yeah, I assume Raph's just going to Maelstrom Pulse right now. Yeah.
And no fourth land. And Kyle draws Vendilion Click.
Right, so this turn, it looks like Raph's getting a little punished for grabbing that basic forest here. He has Dark Confidant and Lightning Bolt in his hand. He also has Dark Confidant and Thoughtseize. Imagine whatever you do here, you really just have to lead with Thoughtseize. Which makes it pretty hard to cast anything else afterward because your 2 other lands only produce green. So it looks like he might just go for this Dark Confidant, which unfortunately for him is going to run into a Cryptic Command. Oh no, he chooses just to attack with the Treetop Village, and I like that play.
Play another Treetop Village here. Kyle doesn't try to trade his click away, and it looks like he's pointing around. Alright, so we're seeing Inquisition, Thoughtseize, Dark Confidant, and Lightning Bolt. Raph's hand definitely looks like he would have beat Tom Ball's deck.
Oh, definitely. Raph's hand is very well set up for a Storm combo deck this time around.
Almost perfect against Kyle's deck, he just needs a little more pressure. Something like a Tarmogoyf would have been perfect.
A Tarmogoyf would be ideal in this spot. But now, Raph has another fetch land. which he drew off of Vendilion Click Trigger, and that can grab him in his swamp, and then he can start doing things like double spelling. Even if he's attacking with the Treetop Village, he has multiple... Ooh, and that's a Mortar Pod.
Now, Mortar Pod against Jund gets Dark Confidant. I understand that. Another land drawn by Raph. It looks like it's the Black Cleave Cliffs.
Yeah, not the ideal land you want on a turn like this. So we're going to see whether or not Raph has a... or decides to lead with the Thoughtseize here. Into the Inquisition. And that's a fine play. Shows fun of the Cryptic Command.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Raph. If Kyle really wants to go aggressive, everything could come in, including his Celestial Colonnade. And Raph is just not in a good shape after that hit.
Yeah, I mean, as long as Kyle draws that land, Kyle can come in with the Celestial Colonnade plus the Bird and the Vendilion Click, and then, he's got a 2-turn clock on Raph. So Raph can no longer rely on these treetops to win him a race, and he's going to need to start, stringing something else together here if he wants to achieve that type of win.
All right, so Raph is sticking out at Treetop Village here. Trying to think of how can he win this game. What does he need to do?
A post-combat Thoughtseize, take that Cryptic, and then next turn a Bloodbraid Elf into a... Alright, so he's going to let Kyle have that Cryptic Command.
And he's able to play around the Cryptic Command with his if he draws a Bloodbraid Elf still next turn. Let's see, what did Kyle draw for this turn? Not a land for sure.
I think it is a land.
Is it? Oh, okay.
But he may just want to keep having Cryptic Command on it. It's an awfully tempting thing to do when you've got a Cryptic Command in your hand and the mana to cast it, to leave up a mana to cast it.
Might as well sit on it.
Especially when you're ahead. When you're ahead and you have Cryptic in your hand, it feels pretty good. And it also feels like a pretty good time to sit back and do nothing.
Oh, so it was a Misty Rainforest he drew?
So did we see what Raph drew this turn? It doesn't look very good in this spot here now. Ooh, was it a Bloodbraid Elf? If any card can save him here, it's going to be a Bloodbraid Elf.
Alright, so Thoughtseize here. Raph drops to 7 after Thoughtseize.
And,
Kyle,
how do you play this? I mean, if the Cryptic's the only card in your hand, then do you just counter this and bounce one of the Treetop Villages or something like that? Or counter
draw a card?
Yeah, the Treetop would just be tapped for mana in response.
Kyle could be thinking, he's like, maybe I want Raph to go down to 7.
Yeah.
Alright, Raph float something.
Yep. He's presumably floating some black mana right now. See what he has post-combat for us. Brian Kibler won his first match of the day.
4-0 now after his 3 buys. All right, Raph, thinking what to do.
I don't know. Perhaps he's going to activate this tree tap. Oh, just swinging with 1 tree tap village now. Passing the turn. Cal down to 5 at this point.
Four, 7, 8, and Raph sticks out the hand.
Yep.
Congratulations to Costello, going 4-0. Luckily, Raph had 3 buys, so he'll be able to still have a solid day as long as his draws improve. It seemed like he just had weak draws.
Yeah, I mean, it also, these claw decks, if they start to get a little bit of advantage, they can just, really, really press that advantage. There we saw Kyle, after Raph's discard spells, Kyle had nothing in his hand. But for the next couple of turns from there on out, he drew, a Vendilion Click and then a Cryptic Command. And it started compounding on itself.